This session is about getting everything right before Saturday. The work starts before the whistle. Coming and doing days like today is just brilliant because you just gain confidence. No! What a nightmare. Right, so we're out on the bank again. Our original plan was to go to the River Wye today, but me and cameraman Ben checked the water level last night, and I think the river is just creeping into Asda car park. So unless Ben was prepared to buy me a boat, we're definitely not going there today. So I only thought it'd be right, with having a silverfish qualifier here tomorrow, a Fish South Silvers qualifier here at the stunning Viaduct Fisheries, I thought, why not come here, have a little practice session, try and gain a bit of confidence, try and catch a few bream, and see what I can learn. With the venue being as close as what it is to me, I haven't actually fished that many matches here at all. I fished one Silvers qualifier before where I drew 119, and I caught like £20, but these pegs here where I'm sat today, like 111, 110, 112, dominated that day. So I thought I'd come and sit here, come and sit on a really good area. And then the main objective for today really is just to catch some fish, gain a bit of confidence tomorrow, see if I can learn a little bit. It's always a little bit different under match conditions, so I'm not going to take everything that I learn as gospel today. I'm just going to try and catch some fish and gain a bit of confidence. Right, so I've fed my 2 long pole lines with ground bait. I've fed one negative just with a little ball and a little bit of loose ground bait, and then I fed one quite positive with about 400 ml of ground bait. I thought I'd start on the little negative line, and I've dropped in, I had a couple of little funny indications. Basically what we've got today, the wind's coming virtually smack off my back, but then the toes going left to right. So you can imagine my float sat past my pole tip and at a bit of an angle, so it's not the best conditions. I've been sat there about 5 minutes after feeding that little ball of ground bait. It's gone under and I've hooked a carp, which isn't the greatest of starts, but I was chatting to a good mate the other day, Matt Toombs, and he said basically at Viaduct the bream live with the carp. Because the bream are a certain size, they don't get too bothered about the carp being in your peg. So hopefully hooking a carp first chuck isn't the worst sign. Obviously if I go back in and just start hooking one every chuck, then it's going to be a bit tricky. But maybe an odd carp in between some bream isn't the worst thing in the world. I'll try and get it out because I know how big and how nice the fish are in here. Look at the size of that. Obviously lovely if they counted, but the match I'm fishing tomorrow, they definitely don't count. So we'll get this one back nice and safely. I might top up in a minute because I feel like there's quite a few in my peg early, and then hopefully that might bring a few skimmers into the peg. Bit of an interesting start really. Went in, I hooked a fish and it popped off, then I caught that carp, and then I've been sat there and I've had like 2 or 3 really weird indications, but I thought I might go in after catching that carp and catch a bream, but I haven't. So I'm just going to top up with like a little wet ball and a little bit of loose ground bait and just see if that brings some fish back into my peg. I'm just really worried a little bit early on about feeding too much because of those carp. But hopefully if I can just keep putting those little wet balls in and catch carp when they're in my peg, hopefully at some point I could just go boom 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 and start catching bream. fingers crossed anyway. But I think tomorrow when we're in match situation, we'll have like 20 anglers around the lake. So you can imagine 20 people feeding bait, that'll disperse the carp. So I spoke to Will this morning and I don't think he had any carp trouble on this peg in the last silverfish qualifier, which he won from this peg. Yeah, so fingers crossed. For me, preparation is absolutely massive. I mean, coming and doing days like today is just brilliant because you just gain confidence. If I can come here today and catch like 10, 15, 20 bream, straight away I know roughly what I'm doing and what I'm feeding, what floats I need, what hooks I need to be tied up. And then if I can go home tonight and continue that preparation, I can renew all my hooks, renew all my rigs, make sure everything I'm using is absolutely brand new and spanking, that any situation that I'm put in tomorrow, I'll be covered for. And I think that's just massive. I think when you get to a very good level, like these qualifiers or finals or international fishing, that being confident in your fishing is massive. I've always said you're better off fishing the wrong match confidently than the right match unconfidently, if that makes sense. So coming here today and just trying to catch a few bream, get myself into the swing of the fishing and how they're feeding, what they're eating, is just massive. Obviously I'm extremely fortunate. I'm in a position with Matrix that we can come and do days like today, so I'm extremely fortunate. I do know that. So I mean, not everybody's going to have the time to come and do days like today, which is fair enough. But yeah, for me, preparation breeds confidence, and confidence is the #1 key to winning matches. So not a ideal start. So basically I fed that little ball, dropped in, hooked a carp, it come off. Then I caught that carp, and then I've hooked another carp. So not ideal. I think it's probably because I'm pleasure fishing isn't helping. Oh, that one's just popped off. But if I was going to come here today and fish for carp, the last thing I would want to do is put a big volume of bait in somewhere. Probably the best way of fishing for carp here would just be to feed nothing, just literally lob a lead out with corn or bread and try and catch them. So I'm hoping that line where I've fed more bait comes good, and maybe I won't hook as many carp on that line. I think, cameraman Ben, we might have our first bream of the day, which is a really good sign because I just topped up again. I just put a little bit of loose ground bait in, a little wet ball. No! What a nightmare. But I know it's popped off, but it is a good start. That was definitely a bream. So I might just have another quick little go and then top up again and see if I get that same sort of response. So we've gone in, I obviously lost that bream to all your amusement. And then I never had a bite, so I topped up with a little wet ball, gone straight back in, and there's definitely some bream in my peg now. I think earlier those bream were just being a little bit unsettled by the carp, but those carp seem to have moved off now, and the last 2 times I've topped up, I've literally gone in and within a minute I've had indications. The presentation is really tricky, but I do feel like there's some bream moving in now, and they are absolutely, I can see what everyone goes on about the fishing here. The bream are absolutely beautiful. Look at that one. It's not foul looked, it's just wrapped around his fin. And that's the first one of the day, but a really, really good start. I can see why, when the conditions are right, they catch such big weights of the fish as well. Absolutely beautiful fish. That's probably getting on for, it's probably about £2 that. So when you think like, probably tomorrow I'm going to need 35 to 40 pounds to win, it's not actually that many fish. So I'm just going to top up again. What I'm going to do, I might top up straight away and go straight in on it, because that seemed really good the last couple of chucks, just doing that. So yeah, but hopefully if I can do that, keep going, and then leave that more positive line for later. So tomorrow is a Fish South Silvers qualifier, which I qualified for last year, and the finals at Southend Farm in Essex, which is a long way, but I thought last year the final was absolutely brilliant. The fishing was really good. The fishing on the final day was a little bit different to practice, because it warmed up quite a bit the week before, but it was a fantastic competition. Will won it. He won 12 grand, so it's one of those ones that, like, after being there, seeing the final, I want to go again and want to try and qualify again, because a year's experience of that venue, I feel like if I went back, I would do a lot better. I still done all right in the final last year. I don't feel like I drew a peg where I could have won. I drew peg 7, which wasn't ideal, but yeah, it was a brilliant final, brilliant competition. I try and support the Fish South matches as much as possible as well, because we haven't got loads of big matches, big money matches in the south compared to up north, so I do try and support them as much as possible. So obviously that's going to be really, really nice to qualify for. I've been fortunate enough this year, I've already qualified for the Fishing Masters Silverfish final, which I'm really looking forward to. I think that's going to be a 15 grand final. The finals at Springvale, where we just filmed the Christmas special, so yeah, looking forward to that. It's a little of a long way, that one, but I think the fishing will be fantastic, so I'm really looking forward to that. And also there's the Angling Trust Silverfish final that would be nice to get into, but I'll always put the Fish South qualifiers first over the Angling Trust ones, just simply because there's a lot more venues in the south. I can come to Viaduct, I can come to Red Hill, where it's simply not as far to travel. When in January, February, when the weather's not great, I just don't want to be travelling as far as in the summer. It's a lot easier travelling in the summer when you've got lighter nights and better weather. It's just a lot easier. I've also booked in for, I think I've booked in for 8 festivals this year. 6 of them are the Fish Hub festivals, which are only 2-3 days, which is perfect for me. The 5 days festivals aren't quite as easy for me to do with the family, and that, like a 2-day festival is perfect for me, because I only have to go away for 1 or 2 nights. I think the 6 2-day festivals I'm doing, the Fish Hub ones, are at Hayfield. There's 2. There's one I'm really looking forward to, which is the Pears one at Hayfield. I'm doing a wheel, which would be absolutely brilliant. There's a couple at Monk Hall. I think there's one at Red Hill as well. So I'm doing all the Fish Hub festivals, and I've also booked in for the Pole Masters at Tunnel and the May Festival at Tunnel, which probably, if I was going to pick one festival to do, I would pick the Pole Masters. That's the one for me. That's definitely the best standard of angling in a festival in the country, and probably one of the best venues as well. It's brilliant. I love that Pole Masters Festival. Really good laugh. Stay on site. Normally the weather's pretty good, so yeah, that's what I've got planned for this year festival wise. And then also I've got all my match list tickets, golden reel, and the biggest one for me, the most important, is Fishermania. After getting into the final last year of Fishermania, that is the one I want to try to start off with, get back into, and then try and win. I think once you've been in that final and once you've experienced that, then realistically that's the one I want to win. That's the most important one. There's so much more of a buzz around Fishermania than any other match in this country by an absolute country mile. The other finals are good. The Maver final's good. The Golden Reel final's good. All of the Fish South ones are absolutely brilliant, but for me there's nothing quite like the Fishermania. The way that they do the draw before, the way that it's televised, how professional it is dealing with Matchroom. Yeah, that's the one I want to win. Like, I really enjoyed the final last year, and if I can get back into that this year, that's what I want to do. I'm going to put more effort into the Fishermania than any other I'm just going to go on there, and it doesn't matter where they are. They could be out of Mongolia. I will go to the qualifier, just turn up and just try and fish and win. So yeah, that's my year I've got planned, to be honest. This week I've had a real good think about my fishing and how it went last year and what I'm going to be doing this year and where I'm going to be going. And I think sometimes what you need to do is you need to be honest with yourself, and if you're going to commit to doing the amount of qualifiers that I'm going to do and the amount of festivals that I'm going to do, I think you need to be honest and look at your fishing and see where you can improve. Now for me, I love feeding lots of bait, being aggressive, feeding 10, 12 pints of casters, fishing shallow, boshing in dead maggots, ground bait in the edge. But that's brilliant when the fish are feeding aggressively and they want to eat bait. But there is quite a few circumstances that I went to last year in qualifiers where the weather's not great, the oxygen could be low, the fish are really moody, they don't really want to eat. And I think for me in that sort of circumstance, I have to build the confidence to just literally go there, and whether it be mugging or any other type of fishing like that where you're really not feeding and you're just being nice and patient, nice and confident, not feeding, flicking a pellet at them, is really important for me to start doing and getting into that mind frame. I've seen Jamie do it so many times. He'll just literally go there, set up a couple of mugging rigs, a couple of edge rigs, and that's it, just be done with it, you know. So I think I've got to improve slightly and recognising the days where you've got to just be right, it's a mugging day, the fish aren't going to be really feeding, just go there and mug all day and see what you can catch. So yeah, that's one area that I feel like this year I'm really going to try and build my confidence in doing. When I've been looking at the venues of the finals, of the qualifiers that I'm going to fish this year, they're all quite similar in a way. Basically, you've got Fishermania, which is at Westwood, which is 50-50 carp and F1s, but the way you fish for them is generally like fishing for carp. You fish short, you fish in the edges, you fish across, and you be quite aggressive with bait. And then that rings true with Hayfield as well. You're fishing short, long, in the edge, fishing for carp. And then the Golden Reel final is very, very similar. So basically all three big money finals now are fishing for carp in quite a similar way. It's all pole fishing and trying to catch anything from carp from like 5 to 20 pound. So what I'm going to try and do this year is, if there is any matches where I can pick and choose and just fish and open, I will try and do quite a bit of carp fishing. I feel like last year what I'd done with my fishing, I'd done quite a lot of F1 shallow fishing, which was brilliant. It got me into the Fishermania final, it got me into the Fish South final, and I won quite a few matches fishing like that, which is good. But I know I can do that. I know I can go and do that whenever I need to do it. And I feel like if I want to go and win one of these big finals, which is my main priority, I've got to do quite a bit of carp fishing. I just think it's really important to be fishing for those fish in the build up to a big final. Not gonna lie, it isn't as good as what I thought it was gonna be. I think it would probably be better if it was a match on here today, because the fish have got less area they can just swim off into. But at the moment the negative line's been miles better. Like the line where I fed that 400 mil hasn't been so good at the moment, but I got a feeling at some point I'll drop in on that 400 mil line and it'll just be like boom boom. At the moment that negative line seems really, really good. Just fishing with a maggot and a pinky on the hook, which is a bit of a standout bait. I'm just putting a few maggots in my little ball ground bait, and yeah, it's starting to get better though. I'm sure from now to the end I'll be able to nick a few more. So today's been a little bit trickier than what I thought it was going to be. I think maybe this southeasterly wind and the volume of rain we had overnight has knocked it a little bit. Plus with pleasure fishing, I don't know if these bream sort of move off, but today's still been really, really worthwhile. There's a few things that I've learned today that is going to put me in good stead for tomorrow. The first one is definitely plumbing your 2 lines that you're going to feed with ground bait and making sure they're the same depth, because what's been really nice here today, you could be fishing one line. If you don't want to top it up, you can literally just lift your rig out and plop it in on the other line. You don't have to bring your pole in, adjust your rig or pick up another rig. You can just plop it on. Because a couple of times today I've just lifted my rig up on one line, dropped it in on the other, and it settles and you get a bite straight away. So that's been really, really nice. So I'm going to try my very best tomorrow and pick 2 lines that are exactly the same depth. 100% another thing that's been brilliant today that I've learned is that the fish don't seem to want lots of bait. My positive line, where I fed that 400 at the start, I've literally hooked 1 bream over, and then I've hooked quite a few over my negative line. So I think this wind might have just knocked them a little bit, so they might not want to eat quite as much. And then last tip, probably the most important for today, I will let you know exactly what that is at the end of the video. Right, so getting quite a few indications now. I think what will happen as the day goes on, as the light starts to drop, we're getting to the period in the match now where the fishing starts to get really good. I'm getting quite a few indications now. The negative line has been 1,000 times better than the positive line. Just think this wind is really cold, and we've had a load of rain overnight and it's just knocked them back a little bit. I've even caught a few fishing off the edges of my bait, like flicking my rig around, fishing down from it, which is a sign for me that the fish don't want to come right in onto the bait. So it means they're not actually like feeding that aggressively at all. But it's really good that I've seen this today, because I probably might have been a little bit gung-ho tomorrow if I wouldn't have come today. This is like fishing a different lake now. Unbelievable. It's amazing really, because I haven't changed much at all. Like, you've just got to be reactive with your bites. So when you're getting more bites, it's a lot easier to keep feeding. But we've just got to that point of day now where you expect them to start to feed, and unbelievable, it's just gone in and it's just all of a sudden it's just absolutely solid. Dropping my float in, indications, bites, just solid. Unbelievable. It's like it's just reached a certain point in the day where the lights just dropped a touch and then they want to eat. I suppose though, with these fish the size they are, if they don't want to eat, you're not going to catch them. But look at that. You can see why they catch such big weights. You could catch 50 pound of them, no problem. Right, so my last tip for you is when you're feeding your ground bait, it's really, really good if you can hold your pole in a position that allows you to be able to ship your pole on just a bit to be able to fish past your bait. In the winter time, a lot of the time, these skimmers will sort of come into your peg, but they'll just sit off the back of your feed. I think basically what happens, they are attracted to your bait, but they don't want to necessarily come in aggressively and feed. So if you can feed your bait with like a joint on your knee, which allows you to push your pole past 18 inches, 2 foot, or if you hold your pole at the end of a section, but you've got a little dolly butt on where you can ship on, that is so important. Early on, when it was a little bit tricky and I wasn't getting as many bites as what I am now, 2 or 3 times I flicked the rig out and I've got about 20 inches of line between my float and my pole tip. So my float was sat like 20 inches past where I fed my bait, and it's literally settled and gone dunk straight under. So it's so vitally important when you're fishing for skimmers in the winter, when you're feeding ground bait, make sure you pot your bait in and hold your pole in a position where you can ship on 18 inches, 2 foot, 3 foot, past your bait, fish past your bait, and I can assure you that'll get you a few extra bites. So obviously we're at a time of the day now where we've basically, what's basically happened, we've started the day with carp, then we've had a good long period where I've caught some bream. It's been absolutely mint, I've loved it. And then we've got to the stage of the day now where it seems like I'm catching a carp every chuck again. But we're this time of the day now, the match would be over, so it's not too much of a problem. But it's been an amazing day. I've absolutely loved it. I'm really glad I come. I can see why everybody raves about the silverfish fishing down here. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I don't think these bream will be in every single peg. You will have to draw a really nice peg, a right area, maybe here, maybe at the other end, to win. But if I can get on a few, oh, that was definitely a carp. If I can get on a few and fish something similar today, I'm sure I'll do all right.